In this Elden Ring video, I'm going to be showing you why claws are the best weapon in Elden Ring. This is our 20-second video where we go through all the different weapons in a weapon category, go through their pros and cons in order to help you make better decisions about why you might use them or not in your build. Before we get into the weapons themselves, however, first let's go through the pros and cons of this weapon group, as well as playstyles I think most people will use when using claws. So first, for pros, the attack speed of claws is extremely fast. They might even be the fastest attacking weapons in the game. They're exceptionally fast, and this allows you to hit rapidly, building up attack power with like Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, or set status effects more easily even after the status effect nerf from several patches ago. Another major plus point of this weapon is that they're always paired, meaning that you can actually use two of these even though you only have one equipped. This allows you to have lighter equip load when using this, and it also allows you, if you buff your right-hand weapon, to also buff your offhand weapon at the same time. So if you buff with something like Bloodflame Blade, or Lightning Armament, or Scholar's Armament, etc., you're going to buff both weapons simultaneously, and both will benefit from the increased attack rating. They're also an extremely lightweight weapon, the lowest weighing 1.5 and the highest weighing 3, so they do not weigh hardly anything at all. Additionally, they have a very good dual-wield moveset, allowing them to strike rapidly with it, and they also have good crit rating. All of the claws except one have 110 crit rating, so that's better than most weapons in the game. And all four claws have status effects natively on them, so you're going to be able to set status effects with this weapon group. The negatives of this weapon group are that they have low attack rating in general, although it's not as low as some weapons. Also, the dual wield status effects have been nerfed, in previous patches, so you don't set up status effects while dual wielding as much as you used to, which still applies to the paired weapons of claws. And this weapon group has short reach compared to a lot of other weapons in the game. And probably the last thing is that this weapon type has relatively low stance damage, so you're not really going to get stance breaks easily with this weapon type. In terms of playstyles, I think the vast majority of people who are using claws are simply going to use them in some sort of hybrid build where they spellcast and then dual wield, where they buff their claws with something, cast spells when they want. But generally speaking, most people are going to lean into the paired nature of claws, dual wield them, and attack rapidly with them, trying to set status effects or build up their attack power in that manner. So those things being said, let's get into the claws themselves. There are no unique claws in Elden Ring. All four claws are infusible, so let's get into the infusible claws. The first up is the Hookclaws. The Hookclaws shares the default moveset of most other claws and deals physical damage. It's one of the lightest claws in Elden Ring, weighing 2, and requires 8 strength and 14 dexterity in order to use effectively. The Hookclaws have a lot of things going for them. They are the longest claws in Elden Ring, they're the second lightest, they have native bleed buildup on hit, and you can find them pretty early on in Stormveil Castle. Their only downside is that they deal less damage than all but the Raptor's Talons. Infusion-wise, Fire and Lightning comes in first at 532 attack rating, with Magic just behind at 527, and Sacred and Flame Art pulling up third at 505. Keen outperforms Heavy, with Cold being virtually tied with Keen. I like to use this weapon with Flaming Strike set to Flame Art in order to buff both weapons with Fire, further boosting their attack rating. This also allows you to cast incantations effectively due to High Faith, and you can reach over 1000 attack power when fully buffed with this setup. The bleed is just a bonus. Use talismans like Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, Fire Scorpion Charm, Shard of Alexander to further boost damage. Make sure you have 51 poise so you can trade damage without interruption. Next up are the Bloodhound Claws. The Bloodhound Claws share the default moveset of most other claws and deal physical damage. It's the heaviest claw in Elden Ring, weighing 3, and requires 10 strength and 15 dexterity in order to use effectively. The Bloodhound Claws are the go-to option for those wanting to play a strength-based claws build with native bleed buildup on hit. Some of their damage slips through shields, and they have the second highest attack rating of all claws. However, they are the second shortest claws, and you cannot get them until Volcano Manor, which can take a while. Infusion-wise, Fire and Lightning and Magic are tied for first at 549, with Sacred and Flame Art coming in second at 528. Heavy outperforms Keen by a point, and Cold is ahead of both of them. Occult is also not bad at 450. I like to play this weapon with a heavy infusion, leaning into the decent strength scaling of the weapon, and buffing it with Bloodflame Blade to apply extra bleed buildup for each claw. If you use something like Endure, you can tank through hits while swinging rapidly, triggering Hemorrhage easily, and stacking up attack rating through talismans like Lord of Blood's Exaltation and Rotten Wing Sword Insignia, while also using the Thorny Crack here. Up next is the Venomous Fang. The Venomous Fang shares the default moveset of most other claws and deals physical damage. It's the second heaviest claw in Elden Ring, weighing 2.5, and requires 9 strength and 9 dexterity in order to use effectively. The Venomous Fang might seem great at first glance. It has native deadly poison buildup, which ticks for more damage than regular poison, but over a much shorter duration. It has the lowest requirements of all claws and the highest attack rating of all claws. However, they are the shortest claws by a lot, and they have the lowest crit rating of all claws. And you really feel the short reach of this weapon compared to others. It is really very noticeable. Infusion-wise, Magic and Fire and Lightning are virtually tied at 576 and 575, with Sacred and Flame Art coming in second at 545. Keen outperforms Heavy 504 to 498, with Cold also at 504 and Occult at 471. I like to play these weapons with the Blood Infusion since the arcane scaling will also impact the poison buildup on the weapon, and Bleed is typically more useful than Poison, even if it is the deadly variant. Use Endure to tank hits and continue to spam attacks on bosses, setting both status effects, and use Rotten Winged Sword Insignia, Lord of Blood's Exaltation, and Kindred of Rot's Exaltation for increased attack power. And lastly, we come to the Raptor Talons. The Raptor Talons have a unique heavy attack that jumps and deal physical damage. It's the lightest claw in Elden Ring, weighing 1.5 and requires 6 strength and 14 dexterity in order to use effectively. The Raptor Talons are the only claws with an alternate moveset, and their jump attack damage is about 10% higher than other claws, assuming the attack ratings are the same. They also have native bleed buildup like other claws, but they have the lowest attack rating of all claws in Elden Ring. Infusion-wise, Fire and Lightning comes in first at 518, with Magic in second at 511, and Sacred and Flame Art in third at 478 attack rating. Keen outperforms Heavy 469 to 444, and Cold is just under Keen. I like to use these weapons in a jump attack build to take advantage of the unique properties of the weapon, not unlike my cold-blooded Raptor build where you use the Claw Talisman, Raptor's Black Feathers, and Royal Knight's Resolve to buff jump attacks. You can also use the Sacrificial Axe in your offhand to refund FP when you kill enemies if you want. Additionally, Ritual Sword Talisman is not bad for this build since you tend to not get hit that often when jump attacking enemies this way. So that wraps up our video on why claws are the best weapon in Elden Ring. This is actually an exceptionally good weapon group. You can hit very high attack ratings, and I feel like this native status effect buildup of these weapons is just a bonus a lot of the time, and you can really make a deadly build using these, and I look forward to putting out another one very soon. So when it comes to your standard weapons, we only have fists left, which I'm also going to try and get out later this week. Before we have spellcasting implements and bows, I'm going to try and get videos out for those. I know that you guys will probably want to see those. We might also do shields, potentially armor before the DLC. We'll see how much time we have, as we will be squeaking in builds here and there as well. The bows videos and the, spellcasting implements videos will probably be a little bit different format, since there's no movesets involved and there's no Ash of War really involved in those weapons. Probably be more comparing stats and the unique properties of those weapons. As always, if you have other comments or tips of things that I forgot to mention in this video, please leave them in the comments below, and if you have questions, you can leave them there as well. If you have a request for a build, you can also leave that as well.